Most people spend their entire lives inside a system that teaches them to believe in limitation. From the moment we're born, we're told what's acceptable, what's realistic, and what's possible. We're taught to color inside the lines, to think like everyone else, to act like everyone else, and to measure our worth by how closely we match the expectations of the world around us. And slowly, without realizing it, we begin to trade our uniqueness for acceptance. We trade curiosity for certainty. We trade passion for comfort. We trade the extraordinary potential of who we are for the safety of being average. Think about it. When was the last time you questioned what normal really means? Society tells you that a normal life is waking up to an alarm you don't want to hear, working at a job you don't love, coming home exhausted, numbing your mind with distraction, and repeating the same cycle over and over again. It tells you that success looks like fitting in, doing what everyone else is doing, following the same predictable path that leads to the same predictable outcome. But what if that's not success? What if that's the trap? We are conditioned from a young age to seek belonging, to want to be part of the group, to avoid standing out, to fear rejection. But belonging has a hidden cost when it requires you to abandon who you really are. The illusion of normal is powerful because it convinces you that comfort equals happiness. It convinces you that if you just follow the rules, if you just blend in, everything will be okay. But deep down, you know that okay isn't enough. Deep down, you can feel it. That restlessness, that quiet frustration, that inner voice whispering, you were meant for more. That whisper isn't your imagination. It's your potential calling. It's the sound of your higher self trying to wake you up from the trance of mediocrity. The problem is that the longer we stay asleep, the more we begin to identify with the dream. We start to think that the limitations we see are real, that the boundaries we live in are fixed, and that the ceiling we keep hitting is the end of what's possible for us. But it's not. The illusion of normal is not truth, it's conditioning. It's a collective agreement made by people who have forgotten how powerful they are. When you start to question that illusion, everything begins to shift. You start to realize that the people who changed the world, the inventors, the creators, the leaders, were never normal. They refused to think in the same patterns as everyone else. They understood that mediocrity is simply the result of repetition, the repetition of the same thoughts, same emotions, the same actions, day after day. And if repetition creates reality, then breaking free means creating a new pattern, one that aligns with the highest version of you. The average person wakes up and immediately remembers who they were yesterday. They recall their problems, their stress, their disappointments, and in doing so, they recreate the past in the present moment. Their body begins to feel the same emotions. Their brain produces the same chemicals, and before the day has even begun. Their future is already decided because they're living from memory instead of imagination. That is the essence of being average, living from the past, not creating from the future. But when you become aware of this loop, you begin to take back your power. Awareness is the first step out of the illusion. You start to realize that every belief you hold about who you are, what you can do, what's possible for your life, was once a thought that you agreed with. And if you can agree with limitation, you can also choose to agree with expansion. You can begin to rewrite the story. You can begin to question the very definition of normal. Ask yourself, what is normal about suppressing your dreams? What is normal about playing small when you were born to be limitless? What is normal about waking up each day to live a life that doesn't ignite your spirit? Nothing about that is normal. It's just familiar. And familiarity is seductive. It gives us the illusion of safety. But it keeps us stuck in cycles that don't serve our evolution. To step beyond average, you have to be willing to step beyond the familiar. You have to become comfortable with uncertainty, because that's where growth happens. The moment you choose to stop living by the old patterns, the moment you decide to no longer be defined by the opinions of others or the expectations of the world, you begin to reconnect with who you really are. Not the version of you shaped by external influences, but the authentic you. The creative, infinite consciousness capable of imagining and manifesting realities beyond what logic can explain. You begin to see that normal is not the standard. It's the limitation. It's a construct built to maintain comfort zones. But the truth is, No one ever created greatness from their comfort zone. No one ever discovered their power by staying safe. The illusion of normal keeps people asleep because it feels easy, it feels familiar. But the moment you start to question it, to challenge it, to push against it, you awaken a deeper force within yourself. A force that refuses to settle for average. A force that was never meant to blend in, but to stand out, to lead, to create. To transcend the limits of what society calls possible. If you want to live an extraordinary life, you must first understand that your outer world is only a mirror of your inner world. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every belief you hold is creating a pattern that shapes your perception, your choices, and ultimately your destiny. The reason so many people remain stuck in ordinary lives isn't because they lack potential. It's because they are living from the same mental program, day after day, expecting different results. They want change, but they never change their mind. They want to experience something new, but they continue to think and feel in the same old ways. And so, life never evolves beyond the limits of their current consciousness. The mind is like software. It records experiences, memories, and emotions, storing them as data that run automatically in the background. Over time, those programs become who we think we are. If you've been repeating thoughts of fear, self-doubt, or limitation for years, your body has memorized those emotions. It doesn't just think about being average, it feels it, it lives it, it breathes it. You wake up every morning and immediately reconnect with your familiar identity, the one that knows struggle, the one that expects failure, the one that doubts possibility. Without awareness, you repeat yesterday's mental and emotional routines, and your body becomes the unconscious mind. But here's the truth. The mind that created your present reality cannot be the same mind that creates your future one. If you want to step into the life you've never lived, you must think in ways you've never thought before. You must become conscious of the unconscious patterns running your life. You must observe yourself, your reactions, your habits, your emotional triggers, not to judge them, but to understand them. Because the moment you observe the program, you are no longer the program. You become the consciousness behind it. That is where reprogramming begins. When you start becoming aware of your thoughts, you realize how repetitive they are. Scientists estimate that the average person has around 60,000 thoughts a day. 90% of them are the same as the day before. Imagine that, the same thoughts producing the same emotions. Those emotions reinforcing the same behaviors, and those behaviors creating the same experiences. That's the loop of average. The way out is not through the world, it's through the mind. You reprogram your mind by becoming intentional about what you allow to exist in your mental space. Every thought you accept as true becomes a signal that your brain and body respond to. If you wake up and say, "Nothing ever changes for me," your brain will find evidence to make that statement real. If you tell yourself, "I'm not good enough," your emotions will match that vibration, and your actions will align with it. But when you start feeding your mind new instructions, when you tell it, "I am powerful, I am limitless, I am capable of creating my reality," you begin to rewrite the code. Your brain starts firing new neural pathways. Your body starts producing new chemical responses. And suddenly, you begin to feel differently about yourself. This is not just positive thinking. It's neuroplasticity. It's the science of rewiring your brain by creating new patterns of thought and emotion that match the life you want to live. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. It only responds to the signal you send. That means when you close your eyes and emotionally connect to a vision of your future, when you feel gratitude for the life you're creating before it even exists, you're literally conditioning your body to believe it's already real. And once the body believes, the reality follows. The key is emotional alignment. You can't just think greater. You have to feel greater. You can't just visualize success while carrying the emotional energy of failure. The emotion is the language of the body, and the body must be convinced that the new reality is already here. That's how the old programming loses its power, by no longer matching the energy of your new identity. The more you practice thinking, feeling, and acting as your future self, the more your brain begins to recognize that identity as the new normal. Eventually, the old patterns fall away, not because you fought them, but because you outgrew them. Asterisk reprogramming the mind means stepping out of survival and into creation. There comes a moment when you realize that true transformation is not about trying harder, doing more, or forcing your way to success. It's about alignment, the perfect harmony between your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Alignment means that what you think, what you feel, and what you do are all moving in the same direction, guided by your higher purpose. When these three forces work together, you begin to experience a sense of flow, clarity, an inner power that feels effortless. But when they are out of sync, life feels like resistance. You push, you struggle, you hustle, and yet something always seems to block your path. That block is not life being unfair. It's a signal that you are out of alignment with who you truly are. Most people live fragmented lives. They say they want one thing, but they think and feel the opposite. They dream of abundance while thinking thoughts of lack. They desire love while carrying wounds of unworthiness. They hope for success while emotionally living in fear of failure. This contradiction sends mixed signals to the universe, and the result is confusion, stagnation, and frustration. You cannot attract what you are not energetically aligned with. You can't create a future that doesn't match the energy you hold in the present. Alignment is the bridge between intention and manifestation. When your thoughts are aligned with your highest vision, your emotions start to support that vision, and your actions become an authentic extension of it. This is when life begins to feel synchronized, not because you control everything, but because you become one with the rhythm of creation itself. The universe is not responding to your words. It's responding to your energy. You can say you want change, but if your energy is anchored in fear, doubt, or disbelief, that's the signal you broadcast. The outer world mirrors the inner state. To shift the outer world, you must first align your inner one. Alignment starts with clarity. You have to know what you truly want, and, more importantly, why you want it. When your intention comes from ego, from wanting to prove yourself, compete, or impress others, your energy becomes fragmented. But when your intention comes from your higher purpose, from love, growth, contribution, and truth, you step into coherence. In coherence, your heart and mind begin to work together. Science shows that when the brain and heart are in sync, your electromagnetic field expands, your intuition sharpens, and your body enters a state of balance. You feel calm, yet powerful, grounded, yet limitless. That's alignment in motion, the fusion of thought and emotion creating a powerful state of being. When you're aligned, you no longer chase, you attract. You don't need to beg the world for opportunities, because the world starts responding to your frequency. You meet the right people at the right time, ideas flow effortlessly, doors open without force. It's not coincidence. It's coherence. Everything in the universe moves according to vibration. And when your vibration matches your vision, manifestation becomes a natural process. It's like tuning a radio. Once you set your frequency to the right station, you no longer hear static. You only hear the message clearly. But alignment requires honesty. You have to look within and see where your energy is divided. If you say you want to change but secretly believe you can't, that's misalignment. If you visualize success but emotionally live in fear, that's misalignment. The goal isn't to fake positivity or suppress doubt, it's to become aware of it and release it. Because every time you align your emotions with your vision, you strengthen the energetic field that supports your transformation. You start to embody your future before it even arrives, and that embodiment is the magnetic force that draws it toward you. You must also understand that alignment is not a one-time act. It's a daily practice. Every morning, you have the chance to tune your energy before the world does it for you. When you wake up and focus on gratitude, clarity, and intention, you align yourself with possibility instead of limitation. You move from survival mode to creative mode. Instead of reacting to circumstances, you begin responding from your higher consciousness. The external world no longer dictates your inner state, because you've anchored yourself in alignment with the future you are creating. When your heart and mind move together, you transcend resistance. Challenges no longer feel like obstacles. They become feedback, guiding you back into balance. You begin to trust the process not because it's easy, but because you can feel that everything is unfolding in divine order. That trust is the sign of true alignment. You stop needing to control outcomes because you know that your energy is already creating them. You stop doubting your path because you've learned to feel your truth more deeply than you can explain it. You start to realize that alignment is not about getting what you want. It's about becoming who you were meant to be. In this state of alignment, fear loses its grip. Doubt begins to dissolve. You no longer chase results. You become the vibration of the result itself. You embody the energy of peace, confidence, and purpose, and that energy begins to reshape the fabric of your reality. When your thoughts declare, "I am enough," your emotions echo that belief, and your actions follow with confidence. When you feel worthy, you make choices that reflect that worthiness. When you believe in abundance, you stop operating from scarcity. That is alignment, not wishful thinking, but the conscious synchronization of mind, heart, and action. Everything you desire already exists as energy waiting for alignment. The reason it feels distant is not because it's unavailable, but because your frequency isn't yet matching it. The moment your inner state aligns with that reality, when your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors become one coherent vibration, the distance between you and your dream disappears. You begin to live as if it's already done, and the universe has no choice but to meet you there. Alignment is not about waiting for your future. It's about becoming it right now. When your internal world mirrors the energy of your vision, the external world simply catches up there. Comes a moment in every person's life when they feel the pull that deep. Unshakable awareness that there is more to them than what they have been living. It's a quiet realization, a subtle awakening that whispers, "You were never meant to blend in, you were meant to rise beyond." The quantum leap beyond average begins in that exact moment of awareness. It's not about gradual change, not about waiting for the right time or gathering more evidence to believe. It's about shifting your entire state of being and stepping into a version of yourself that already exists in the field of infinite possibilities. The leap is not physical, it's energetic. It's not about becoming something new, but remembering what you've always been capable of. The average mind believes in what it can see, but the extraordinary mind believes in what it can feel before it becomes visible. Every breakthrough that has ever shaped human history began with someone who could perceive the unseen, someone who believed before there was proof. To take a quantum leap, you must stop identifying with the version of yourself that is defined by the past. The past is memory. It's the familiar territory of who you've been. But your potential lives outside of that familiarity. Every time you choose to think, feel, and act in alignment with your future instead of your past, you collapse the boundaries that kept you average. You become the energy of your destiny before it physically manifests, and that energy begins to shape your reality. The quantum field, the unseen realm of infinite potential, doesn't respond to who you were. It responds to who you're being now. When you hold a thought long enough, with enough emotional intensity and belief, you send a powerful signal into that field. Your emotions act as the magnetic force, drawing experiences that match the frequency you're broadcasting. That's why average minds recreate the same experiences, because they keep sending out the same signal. They think about their limitations. They feel the same emotions tied to the past. And they unconsciously attract more of what they already know. The quantum leap happens when you break that signal and send out a new one. When you live as the future self you're becoming instead of the one you've been repeating. To move beyond average, you must become comfortable with the unknown. The mind craves predictability. It feels safe in repetition. But the unknown is where creation lives. The moment you step into uncertainty, your old identity begins to dissolve. Your familiar emotions, fear, doubt, unworthiness, will try to pull you back because that's what the body remembers. Yet every time you breathe through that discomfort and choose to remain in the energy of your future self, you are rewiring your brain and reconditioning your body to a new reality. The leap isn't about taking a step outside your comfort zone. It's about living entirely beyond it. You must train yourself to feel the future before it arrives. Imagine what it feels like to already have the success, the peace, the confidence, the abundance you've been seeking. When you can feel it now, before any external evidence exists, you are teaching your body to live as if it's already true. That emotional signature becomes the new baseline of your energy. The universe, which is vibrational in nature, recognizes that signal and begins to rearrange circumstances to match it. Most people wait for the evidence before they believe, but those who make the leap believe until the evidence appears. That is the essence of creation, faith grounded in energy, not in circumstance.